On today's episode, we're going to talk about the bling in the ring, the bling, and all the things. Mike, we're going to let you introduce our guest.
Well, I'm excited that Wayne McKinley is here. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for about 20 years. And he is the jeweler at Goomer and Company in Louisville. And we're just excited for you to be here just to teach us and tell us some information about what you do and how you do it and what you do.
Okay, Wayne, this is where you get to talk. You get to tell us a little bit about yourself and tell our audience about you.
I'm happy to, and thank you, Michael. I started this journey at being a jeweler in 1974, so it's been 47 years, going on 47 years. And I learned it from my father-in-law. He had, with his son, a wholesale manufacturing business. So I learned this trade from the bottom up. And they made me get my hands dirty before I could ever do anything as eloquent or tactful as setting a diamond. And so I did learn it the right way and not from a quick course at trade school or something of that nature. And so I ended up marrying the owner's daughter, but 14 years after that, something happened. I went into retail, and I've worked in an upper retail store for quite some time after that. But with that opportunity, I got to design jewelry and meet customers, and I guess it was just I hit the ground running at that point with being more than just a bench technician and being a salesperson and a designer. But I do say that this has been a real gratifying journey for me.
Well, let me say, Wayne makes jewelry, makes rings, makes any specialty pieces for necklaces or whatever it may be. I'm going to give a big shout out to him because my sister is actually divorced and her daughter got married 2 years ago. And she actually took her engagement ring and her diamond, her wedding ring, and sent it to Wayne and had Wayne made a pendant or a charm out of it for a necklace. And that was given to my niece on the morning of her ceremony. Talking about some tears.
That's so special.
Because it was particularly her dad's ring to her mother. And then she turned it over to Lauren. And it was amazing. I wish you were there to see the emotion and everything that went on because
Did you cry, Mike?
Of course.
Mike, now here I go again with our social media. Can you get a picture of that so we can share it with our guests?
Sure, we can do that.
Because when we're talking about something, what an awesome story. Such a great idea.
And it was so unique and so different. He placed the diamonds in a different way, and it was just something very. And I know you do it all the time. I know you've done some work for Jamie and stuff, and everything that I've ever seen him do is above.
Well, something like that's a heirloom piece that's going to get passed down. Probably your niece's children, she's going to pass that down.
Definitely.
Just really timeless, to be honest with you. And, Wayne, we know that wedding rings is out there. I guess I could say everyone or most everyone that gets married has wedding rings. It's part of the ceremony, all that good stuff. And we know that there's a lot of people out there that if you've not been down this journey before, where do you start? How do you even know what you're going to want? Where do they start? What do you recommend?
It's overwhelming when you think about it. There's so much jewelry out there. There's so many stores, big box stores, so it does get a little overwhelming. I just want to say that I've always worked in a family-owned company, and that brings a lot more intimacy to the process, I believe, than what you can find almost anywhere else. Like, Michael's sister comes in, and we sit down with a piece. She tells me all about it. It becomes a personal thing. When you're helping somebody define their future, you take a big responsibility in that. Michael knows this with flowers. Mm-hmm. It makes the event. It makes everything. Now we're talking about something that's going to potentially last for the entire marriage, you know.
You're gonna have with you every day, it's gonna be on your finger.
Mm-hmm. So for the young men, I like to say that they're just thinking about winning this young girl's heart. They got to get it right. So they want to make sure they have all their ducks in a row when the time comes to present this one thing that is supposed to just say it all.
In your experience, Wayne, nowadays, do you find that usually the guys are coming in by themselves, or do they bring her in to kind of look and get a feel for what she likes?
Guys are pretty smart.
Uh-huh.
They hear a lot, and girls are even smarter. They drop a lot of hints. So the guys will come in, you know, usually, and try to handle this on their own.
Do they bring a picture? Let me guess. Do they bring a picture from Pinterest that this girl's shared out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good old Pinterest.
Well, a lot of times, you know, we have the very same product or something quite similar to it, or I can make it. And that doesn't seem to be a problem. But, you know, a lot of times also you can find the right thing, it's not the right size, or, you know, just getting it right is not the easiest thing. But the guys, they get out there and they get their engagement ring, and then once they're engaged, you know, sometimes there's a band that's with it, sometimes there isn't, and they'll come back and I'll have to special design a fitting matching band, which I would say that's my bread and butter as a craftsman is making those wedding bands. I do it all the time. Guys will go and find a ring maybe someplace else. They buy it because it's different. They didn't think about the challenging part about putting a band with it. So, you know, that's where I come in. Sometimes I can make that jewelry, make that band to be fitted and matching.
So it's a set that they have together after the ceremony's over. They'll have those sets together.
Yeah, a lot of the sets come together.
A lot of times when a bride comes in, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I look at their ring. You know, not knowing I'm looking at their ring, but I'll always comment on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll always say, so that ring's beautiful. So did he pick that out, you know, to give him credit, or did you have something to do with it? And 90% of the time, they'll say, oh no, this was all him. And the rings that I'm seeing nowadays are, oh my gosh, they're stunning. Years ago, even 10 years ago, you used to see more of a ring that just had a gold band and a diamond on it. Now you're seeing the whole band with nothing but diamonds, and you've got a big square diamond, and that's covered with diamonds, and it's just like, they're more lavish now than I've ever seen them.
They are quite extravagant. Well, it historically, the engagement ring was created by Tiffany. Biblically, there was no engagement ring. There's always been a wedding band, biblically.
Interesting to know that.
But there's not been engagement rings. That market was created.
Not a retailer.
Did you know that, Sharon?
I did not.
I did not know that.
Well, try breakfast at Tiffany's, and that launched the entire thing. After that,
Wow.
men were on the hook. But you know, so originally you had that single solitaire diamond, and then it evolved into like a 3-stone diamond that had a ring that had a center stone like an oval and 2 ovals beside it. And then Princess Diana made it special when she had an oval sapphire. That just blew everything out of the water. Diamonds are potentially the best bridal jewelry because it's impervious to damage or wear. It's the hardest thing on our planet. And so that's what makes it such good bridal jewelry. You can choose other stones, but they will wear and need to be repolished eventually. But so then it evolved into, but if you take 3 stones, those stones on the side of the center stone couldn't be too small. So the larger the stone gets, the more expensive it is. So it's really kind of more economical to have a whole lot of small stones, which is real popular today.
So what kind of style are you seeing though when it comes to the shape of the diamond? What's most important or most popular today?
Well, usually you'll always hear somebody say, well, her grandmother had an emerald cut and she just has to have that. And then, or
That's the most popular you hear, emerald?
no.
Oh.
No, I mean, maybe historically it is, but the square stones are more popular, but the round stones are more economical. I would say more people leave the store with a round stone. But it doesn't cost more one way or the other for the cut. It costs more for the weight, and it just depends on how much material you're cutting away. That can get pretty detailed, but
I know a lot of my brides now, they don't want just I think my mom would say white gold that my mom had, or the gold. They want rose gold, or they want, are you seeing a lot of that now?
absolutely.
Yeah. Rose gold, a lot of my girls have that, yeah.
Well, I'm enjoying working in rose gold.
Mhm.
Used to be the 14 karat yellow was very rosy. And
Okay.
some of the antique jewelries had more copper in it, which made it rosy. So it's almost retro that rose gold would become popular once again. But there's green gold, there's royal gold, there's different qualities of gold and different colors of gold. So the choices go on for days.
So if
I
you have
have
a
no
bride come in that wants that vintage look, what would you recommend to her for that vintage ring?
Well, we would have to, if I was working with her, I would see if she was interested in the mill graining or the filigree, different styles of making a ring. This and that, but when you're saying vintage, you're talking about something more specific, more than just a popular style. You just have to narrow that down. for
There's a
vintage.
lot to this that I just didn't know.
I need to go back for a minute though. Okay, so we just talked about gold, yellow gold, rose gold. How many different kinds are there? How many different kinds are there?
Okay, so just a short, quick lesson is all gold comes out of the ground 24 karat yellow. Then after that, it can be alloyed down to harder metals that wear better. So standard for bridal jewelry is 14 karat. It wears the best. It has a lifetime wear of over 30 years.
Wow.
Platinum wears longer, but it's harder to polish and it doesn't stay looking nice in certain styles. But it weighs a lot more and costs more. And that's why the young people like the white gold. Originally they couldn't really afford the platinum, and the white came close to it. Couldn't stop the style from coming out and the popularity of it. No matter how hard we tried. So, but that's just a little thing. But they alloy the gold down from 24 because the 24 karat is so soft you could bend it with your fingers. It would never hold this diamond
Not durable.
reliably. So they alloy it down to 18 and then 14. When you get below 14, the metal starts looking kind of pale. It's not very pretty anymore. But the 18 karat is the prettiest color.
Oh,
Wow, I didn't know all of this.
I had no idea.
Did you know all this?
I had no clue. No
Well,
clue.
and Sharon, I know you had mentioned something earlier in regards to durability or specific
Yeah,
kinds.
when we talk about a man's wedding band, I know I was sharing with you before we started recording, my son's a police officer, so he needed a very durable wedding ring, and actually had some standards he had to meet with his department. What do you recommend for those guys, well, and I guess it could be the girls too, that need that really durable ring, that maybe have a job, or their day-to-day life, just they need a really durable ring?
Okay, well, there's titanium, tungsten, carbide, and there's several different alternative metals out there to gold. they're a lot less expensive. And they range in a whole bunch of styles. And guys are very picky about what they get these days. It's not like, oh, well, I'll just take the plain Jane band.
I'll just match
Yeah.
hers, yeah.
No, it's not like that for guys anymore. They've got to match their style. And even if it doesn't match, or if it does match, that's a different topic. But these alternative metals, they're a lot less expensive. So you can get any ring like that for like $200, $300, $400. The same size ring in gold would be $800, $900, $1,000.
So almost half.
Yeah, and if you lose a titanium ring, no big deal. You can go get another one. But there are some down sides to this, as always. A titanium or a tungsten band, they can't be cut off. So if you like bend your finger back and it begins to swell, those bands have to be cracked off your hand in a vise.
Oh my.
I can't come in with a little saw and cut it off. It has to be cracked off. And then if you gain weight, they can't be sized. They're so hard, they can't be sized. You have to send that band back to the place where you purchased it and receive another ring in the new size. Most don't charge you for another ring, but you have to pay shipping.
That's new. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, the kids, those guys can't afford, they just spent all their money on
an engagement
winning this
ring?
girl's heart. They don't have the money for that band to spend on themselves.
So let me ask you this: when it comes to the wedding band and then the groom's ring, do they come in and buy them as a set? Or do they usually buy them separate?
Well,
Would a couple come in and pick out the set together for both of them?
I haven't sold a set like that, especially for a guy.
Okay.
Guys aren't wearing things that match their fiance's rings. They may want something in the same color, like the tungsten comes in a white version, which looks more like maybe her white gold band.
But you are finding that guys are more picky nowadays.
Oh my gosh!
We do suits in our store too, and I'm not kidding. The grooms are more picky than the brides are.
I had a suit appointment the other day at your store, and I was with Pam probably 2 hours.
They
Yeah.
are so particular, and they want to get one in, 3 months before, and they want to try it on. They want to make sure their butt looks good and their chest looks good. You see that more now than anything. I'm thinking, my gosh.
Well, and I know we're talking about all different kinds of metal and that kind of thing, but what about the person that comes to you that says, I just want a simple wedding ring?
Well, simplicity is always timeless. So it's just like any space, if you can keep it from being cluttered, it can have its own appeal. So simplicity is in the eye of the beholder, really. That would probably go back to something a little bit more traditional, but not necessarily. I've made some pretty outrageous looking rings that were quite simple. Maybe just a single stone in a setting that looked like bark with little diamonds in the knots.
Oh wow.
Stuff like that.
Wow. So as simple as that, maybe said as a solitaire, like a simple solitaire, is that what?
I would say that would be quite simple.
That's more of your traditional,
It
right?
would be traditional, yeah.
So Wayne, one of the services I offer as a wedding planner is I have a checklist for my couples, and I tell them, we even get so detailed as 2 weeks before the wedding, go get your teeth whitened. It's a very, very extensive checklist. When should I go pick up your wedding bands, go order your wedding bands? When should I have my couples do that?
Well, if you're hoping to find something that is, we can just order it in, like if a guy comes in and looks at our plethora of bands and picks one out that he likes, we can probably get it in within 2 weeks. Sometimes, maybe during COVID, things run a little bit slower, and the availability has everything to do with it. But it's not a really big deal if you're buying a stock item. If I'm going to make something for you, if he got you something really different and we sat down and designed something, I might take 4 to 5 weeks to get that completed.
Okay,
So if it's custom, allow
a couple of months.
a couple of months, because they've got to come in and meet with you and discuss all of it and everything first.
Well, so let me just elaborate on that for just 1 second. If you come in to meet with me, we can sit down within an hour possibly and come up with a formidable design. I'll take that idea and counter sketch back to my shop, and then I'll custom sculpt out a wax model of the ring. Every piece of jewelry that's made is made from a wax model
Didn't know that either.
originally. The process is like Michael's sister's pendant. So I took all those stones back and I started off with a chunk of wax, and then I sculpted it out to hold the stones to be the size it needed to be. Had the openings behind it for easy cleaning and for the chain to go through, this and that. So it usually takes me, even a very complex ring, depending on how busy I am, about a week to a week and a half to get that wax model made. And then I'll call my customer back in, and they can look at the wax model with all the stones in place and see what it's going to look like. And I need to get a go-ahead on that and approval on that wax model before I cast it into metal.
That is so neat. I never knew that.
Because I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if I could make that decision off of a sketch before he started talking about the wax.
You would be surprised how detailed it is. I mean, it is, and that's the thing about Wayne, and that's why I wanted him to come here today, is because he, just like I create flower arrangements, he creates that piece of jewelry. It's not
It's
like
so
you're going to go
interesting.
in and you're not going to pick out what he does out of a case. He is actually going to make it from the very first point of it.
Which makes it 100% more special,
Yeah.
I think.
Definitely.
But you still offer, if somebody wants something, a simple band, they can come in and look at a book and they can order it from you.
Oh, absolutely. Goodman & Company has a very large bridal selection to choose from.
Can you work with people that aren't local? Or do they need to be able to come to your shop to order rings or to do business with you?
No, they need to come in,
Okay.
I would say.
For you to make something.
Yeah, well, we carry a line, but all the pieces are hand selected. So if you went to look at a line, first off, you wouldn't be able to purchase it from them. And second, what we have in our cases may not be the entire line, because we handpick our pieces.
And that makes a lot of sense. I was just curious, since we have people that aren't, they're all over. They're not in the Louisville, Kentucky area. That's why I want them to know that. But the tips, if you're going to go, no matter where you are, and this may open people's eyes to realize, oh, I can see something that's a wax mold to be able to, well, I like that, So when they're thinking about custom jewelry, you're not going off of a sketch or just whatever you have made up in your mind.
Oh, I have to have an approval before that's cast into gold. We need to get that on her hand. She needs to be able to feel it, look at it, see all the ratios, where the diamonds fit and lay. That's necessary, because once it's cast, the alterations are more difficult. But in the wax or in the model, I can make alterations very, very easily. But you just opened up a can of worms. There's a whole, people do a lot of shopping on the internet. So we don't sell things from the internet. We're a family owned and operated. Come in, let's do some business. If I need to get it for you, that's not a problem. But when you order something off the internet, and I have people come into the store so often, and they're going like, this is not what I was supposed to get. Is it? I'm like, I don't know. Well, let's have the gemologist look at the stones and see if the grade that they sold you. Many times it's not the same grade. You know the difference in grades when you look at it, and it's got a chunk of white in it, and it's yellow, and they said it was going to be white.
Now, are we talking about the ring itself or the diamond?
We're talking about the diamonds, and who knows about the rings.
Wow, so you could buy something thinking you're buying a $2,000 ring when you may end up be $500, $1,000.
Yeah. I don't really know every scenario. I just caution people about it. They, like I listened to the travel agent that you all did a podcast with the other day, and she's just going like, you just cannot ensure your safety and your happiness if you go out here and take all these risks. That's the reason why I'm here. Take advantage of what I have to offer. People come in and they've been taken all the time. Yeah.
So what we're saying is, don't buy your ring online.
This is one of those times where you really need to go to a professional, a jewelry company.
Well, and the other thing I'm thinking too, as I listen to Wayne talk, is if I buy my ring, from a store like Wayne's, and it's a brick and mortar store, I can go there. If I have a problem with my ring, or I just need it cleaned, or something, I've got that relationship, and I can go in and I have some recourse. But if I've just bought it off the internet and I get it and it's not right, what recourse do I have?
It's probably not going to be from Amazon Prime, right?
Probably not.
Probably can't just ship it back.
Well, and this is very important. I mean, especially with this being an engagement ring.
We just started the conversation by timeless, heirloom. We're checking all those boxes. And no offense, I was just getting ready to say, this isn't necessarily a bouquet that you're carrying.
Exactly.
Which you wouldn't want to order that online either, because you can't touch it, feel it, see how it's going to be designed.
But if you think about wedding day, there are very few things after a wedding that become more valuable. I think photographs become more valuable because eventually someone in that photo is going to pass away. That just made that photo more valuable. That's what you have when it's over. And it's the same thing with your jewelry. It's going to become more valuable. It's an heirloom. It's something you can pass down. So you want to make sure you get it right.
Well, I just want to address the service at Goomer & Company is impeccable. Now, we don't roll out the red carpet, and we're not we'll hold your hand and make sure that you're happy. But we're just regular folk. We're there doing our business. We're doing what we like to do. We have a gemologist on staff, so he can look at those items when you bring them in to make sure that they are the quality you were sold. Or if you need to have an appraisal done, he's the expert that'll do that. I'm the expert that'll make sure everything stays in good condition. You can just walk into the store at any time and get your rings cleaned and make sure your diamonds are tight. We don't require you to take out any insurance through our store, but I highly recommend that everybody with a piece of jewelry have that piece insured, because it's just smart business.
That is something that's on my checklist for my couples, is to make sure that their insurance, that they add their wedding rings, their engagement rings to their homeowner's insurance.
And that Wayne must have been reading my mind, because I had written a couple of things down. So why do you get your ring appraised? For the insurance?
Yes.
Okay.
First off, it's the knowledge and then the capability. So if you know what you have, then you can determine what the value of it is. So you have to know what you're looking at, what the weight of the gold is, the number of the stones, what the carat weight of all the stones are, and then the carat weight and the qualities of that gemstone that's in the middle. And once you have that established, you can start assigning values to it according to what you would have to replace it for.
Okay.
So and plus, if you inherit a diamond ring from your mother, it was your grandmother's, it was old, like Jamie's diamond is in the middle of her ring, it was from her grandmother in 1924.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazed me. How much is a diamond like that worth? How much do you want to insure it for? It has to be documented. The insurance companies require you to have an appraisal, a formal appraisal. So you come to the store and you get it appraised, and then you get a rider on your insurance. It's not going to be covered under your homeowner's umbrella. $1,000, $1,500, maybe, but that's not going to cover all the jewelry.
Well, when you talk about a piece like that, I mean, no matter what the actual gem appraises for to that person, I mean, my gosh, from the 1920s, it's priceless. I mean, I can't imagine.
And I'm not trying to just up and change subjects, but this makes me think about what do you recommend a person do after they get married? Like, what's the maintenance? What do you recommend they have it cleaned every so often? Inspected?
Yes. Just like you would your car or anything else that was valuable that you wanted to have operate and stay in good condition. You would definitely want to maintain it, like your heart and your brain.
How often should we get our wedding rings cleaned?
Oh, twice a year. And how many people come in and say, well, I've never had it done. What's the condition of my diamond setting now? I'm like, you're about to lose it. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
So if you don't keep up with the maintenance, you can lose your gems in your ring and things like that.
Absolutely. Gold wears. Gold will wear. Over time, gold will wear. It's water soluble. It's not going to dissolve like a marshmallow, but it will wear. And so those prongs that are holding your stone in, depending on your lifestyle, how long it will last, may have to be worked on or replaced. You just want to keep an eye on them. And plus you don't know how well it was set in the first place.
Gotcha.
Probably will be less likely if I said it to lose it.
So really, if I bought my ring from somewhere else and I brought it to you, yes, you would do that. And I'm sure you would charge for that. But if you purchase the ring from yourself or your company, then that's something that's maintenance automatically, or is that the way it is, or is there a charge for you to bring it back?
No, there are charges.
Even if I purchase the ring from Boomer and Company?
Depending on what needs to be done.
Okay.
If it's small stones like that, we probably just will replace them.
Well, just maintenance though, like if I come twice a year.
To get it
clean
Cleaned.
Yes. No, there's no charge for that ever.
But Mike, you bring up a good point though. Going to a professional, to a jeweler, is a place that may be included for you to come and have your ring cleaned once or twice a year, and having somebody check up on it to make sure everything's good.
Yes, and that's something people don't think about. They think, well, this is forever. I'll slip it on my finger, and I don't have to think about it. There are some things that should be thought about.
This has been so insightful. Like, I didn't know a lot of this.
I didn't know any of this.
Okay, I'll say it now that Sharon did. I don't think I knew any of this.
So Wayne, as we get ready to close things out, if I'm a young man and I'm getting, or young woman, and I'm getting ready to shop for an engagement ring, what in your opinion, and this is someone who knows nothing about jewelry, but wants to win someone's heart, like you said, what in your opinion are the top 5 things that person needs to look for?
Okay. When you go shopping, when you come into the store, I would say, what is your budget? Keep your budget in a reasonable area. Know what you can afford. And I will add that if you buy a diamond that is a little bit smaller than you want in the future, Goomer and Company will give you the full price that you paid for your original diamond for an upgrade.
That's great.
So
That's amazing.
That's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
With
So
that-
if they wanted to make it larger in a couple years.
Maybe a 10-year anniversary or something, yeah.
Exactly. So I don't ever pressure anybody to buy something that they can't afford. Now there is financing, and sometimes you have to go down that road. But you should know what your budget is and stay in there within reason. And then know the shape of the stone, if you can. And
So know what she likes.
know she likes the color of the metal.
Okay.
And that's probably just about it until you start looking at the styles. Just make sure that you know what you want to spend.
That's great information.
Well, and I also think it's good that as somebody can take, look, I've got these couple of ideas that I'm interested in. Wayne could make something, a blend of those two things. He could make something that looks like that picture. There's just, it's endless opportunity when you go to an actual jeweler, it sounds like. Now, I'm sure there's some things you can't do. I don't mean I'm sure there's some caps on some things, not trying to throw you to the fire, but that's just eye-opening how custom.
Well, if I had to do it all over again, going back 30 years, I would have had it made instead of going to a counter and picking it out. Which, I mean, I love what I picked out, and Pam does too, but I mean, I think it just adds that extra special touch.
Well,
to
you know,
say,
we do have that big anniversary
I know,
coming up.
I know,
And
I
I'm
do.
sure
No
Wayne could hook you up, and
No
Pam would
pressure.
be really happy.
But I mean, it makes it more special to know that I went in there and picked out or took him 3 pictures and says, okay, Wayne, I like this and this and this. Make it happen.
I can say that I think I'm a dying breed. It takes a long time to hone this craft. You don't just walk out one day and be a designer master craftsman.
It's an art.
And I am a master. A lot of stores don't even have jewelers in them. They send them out.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many other stores locally has someone like you that work in there? Because I don't think there's too many.
Mm-mm.
There are some, and I know some really fantastic jewelers in town and around the world. But not many places have jewelers in their stores anymore. They send things out. When you come to Goomer's, nothing goes out. Nothing. Not a repair. Nothing goes out.
Everything's done right there.
Everything's done right there, except, and I have to throw this out there, except we're not a lapidary, and if a diamond has to be repaired, we will send that to a diamond cutter, because we're not equipped to do that. But everything stays in the store.
That would make me feel better too, that my ring's not getting mailed all over somewhere.
We have 5 safes in our store. Every single thing goes into a safe at night. So,
Pretty secure.
yeah. Since Bruce opened his store down on 4th and Broadway in the Haberman building, we've come a long way. This Hirschborn store is beautiful.
It is
Coming
beautiful.
in.
It is stunning.
Thank you. And the people I work with are just, they're there because they want to. They want you to have the value for the money that you spend, that you have.
They're really invested in their
Yeah.
customers.
Yeah, and that's the way the family does business. And Jacob's there, the son, the oldest son. He's running things like his dad wanted him to. He's a great guy.
What a neat story.
Thank you.
So Wayne, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, or couples that are listening, how could they get a hold of you?
Well, they can call the store at 502-327-3330. They can go online and go to the website and send us a text message or an email. I think it's info@goomerjewelry.com.
And the best part about this is all of Wayne's links will be on our website, to the website, contact information,
Thank you.
and all of that good stuff. So, Mike, do you know the website that they need to go to?
For him or us?
For us.
The ring, the bling, and all the things.
Absolutely.
Wait, .com.
.com.
Right. Sharon is over there rolling her
She's
eyes.
rolling
You
her
have
eyes.
to check out this video because Sharon is shaking her head.
What is it, Sharon?
Mike
The
never,
ring,
the bling and all the things.com.
.com.
He never
The ring,
remembers the
bling,
website.
and allthethings.com.
Thank you, Wayne, for paying attention. See, that is very
Wayne's been
important.
here for an hour and you've had how many months?
It's okay. We're gonna stop picking on Mike. But on this note, though, if you want to see video of this, which I encourage you to do so, go to our YouTube channel and make sure you look up to connect with Wayne on our website. Thank you so much. This has really been insightful.
Thank you, Wayne.
That has been my pleasure. Thank you all. It's a
Yeah,
great
appreciate it.
experience.
I
Thanks
think
for
this is
taking
gonna
time.
be good information, no matter where someone's located. I really feel like this is stuff that's not talked a lot about when you talk about engagement and
Well, I
wedding
mean, it's
planning.
stuff I didn't even know to think of, so.
Watch out, she'll be adding a checklist or a
Oh,
paper
I've
to
got
her,
some right up
to her
here.
binder, to her binder. Well,
So just scoot me in.
thank you so much, Wayne.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
This episode of The Ring, The Bling, and All the Things was brought to you by The Wedding Experts, whose mission is to connect engaged couples easily and efficiently to local wedding experts. Visit theweddingexperts.love to connect with your local wedding vendors, as well as access valuable resources to help you plan all the details for your big day. If you are a wedding professional, there are affordable and effective advertising opportunities available to you by visiting theweddingexperts.love/advertise.